So in the book of James, me and Grant are splitting this quarter. And I can tell Grant and I, we went to school together at Florida College, and we also went to school together at Western Kentucky. I can tell that Grant went there to get an education, and I went there to get a degree. Grant makes this PowerPoint, and he says, spiritual maturation. I can't even say that word. So if it was up to me, I'm going to keep it simple. Spiritual maturity. So that's what we're here about. So James is calling us for spiritual maturity. One of the things that Grant mentioned in the very first class is just an encouragement to all of us, but just a call to action to all of us. Pick one thing. In the book of James, it's 108 verses, and 50 of them are about doing something. And so one of the biggest points that I took from the first lesson is just to pick one thing and pick it as a call of an action to yourself, just for the week or for the quarter or for the month. Just pick one thing and start to do it. Just a summary about the goal of the book of James. It's just a how-to manual. It's also a call to us to do intentional action. And again, it's for growth of spiritual maturity. So last week, we jumped ahead a little bit, and we didn't have time to cover James chapter 1, verses 19 through 20. So we're going to spend some time tonight going James chapter 1, and then hopefully we can get a majority of the way through James chapter 2. So I've passed out little note cards. I think I made a lot of the summer interns do it. So even when they're not at work, they still have to do some things for me, so I appreciate it. So who has James chapter 1, verses 19 through 20? One of you better start reading quick.
So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. The wrath of man is not the righteousness of God.
Thank you. Thanks, Zach. And I probably put him on the spot because actually I think that was the one I was supposed to read. So thank you. All right. So James says, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. So I think that, kind of the most interesting part, James is just telling us it's time to get out your pen. It's time to take notes. It's time to pay attention. This is going to be on the final exam. This is going to be really important. He says everyone should be quick to listen, and hurry up to hear. Think about how opposite that is in our nature or my nature, especially in conflict. He even talks about how human anger does not produce the righteousness of God. How, in times of conflict, it's unnatural to rush to be quick to hear. In conflict, we usually jump straight in and we want to get our words out. In conflict, we want to usually verbally be the first one to strike in a way. And James is saying, no, that's not what it is. That's not what the Christian walk is like. That's not how Christians should talk. It's really 100% different than what we're used to do. And that when you have times of conflict, it's time for us to close our mouths and open our ears for what other people have to say. So when we're coming in hot or getting angry or frustrated, I think it's a good important lesson for us to just always remember to be quick to listen. And after doing that, he's asking us to be slow to speak. So listen first, then be slow to speak, and then after that, even yet slower yet to anger. It's important for us to be less angry. Not much good comes out of conversations when two people who are talking to each other are filled with anger. When we are angry, we don't communicate well. Now, sometimes when we're angry, we're more focused on winning an argument and not really finding a way to work with each other. James really isn't talking about a better technique or a better way to communicate. And I believe that because of what he says next, because he says the anger of man does not produce the rightness of God. When I'm angry, I'm worried about me being right and not what God says. Isn't it true that when you're angry, more than anything else, you want to be proven that you're right and the other person is wrong? And that's not really what God is interested in. He's not really interested in me being right over someone else. He's not really interested in how good I am at proving that I'm right and the other person is wrong. He's not really interested in me winning over someone else. Really, God is more interested in me being right with my brothers and sisters, not me coming up to overpower them and crush them with my arguments or what I want to say, but more of a rightness and a connection with God. And so really, he's calling us to get rid of that moral filth, and that's the call to action, is when we are getting angry or when we have times to communicate, that we are quick to hear, slow to speak, and slower yet to anger. So, through your personal experience, why is it so important to be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger? Yep, it's easy to jump to conclusions. Thank you, Mike. All right, that's good. Just always thinking about others. Okay. That's all right. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah, I think you could ask my point relevant, but we all have our set of I don't want to snap. I'm reacting. I need to calm down.
Yeah,
For me, that
yeah, that's really good. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like when you're hot and ready to go, it's going to be regret coming next, Steve. Yeah. No, I like that. That's really good. So I guess one question I have about work and writing emails. How many of us have been in a work situation? Oh, and it's just that topic gets you, and then we can start typing away, and you're like, I'm really gonna let them have it. And then you kind of get to the end, and you're like, oof, this one's pretty harsh. I'm gonna set that one in drafts, and I'm gonna wait till tomorrow, and I'm gonna read it tomorrow. How many times do you send that same email tomorrow? Because for me, it's pretty much never. By the time tomorrow comes, I have slowed myself down and I just like, man, this is not going to be the end result. This is not going to help me be right with man. This email was originally typed for like, here I come to win this argument and I'm going to knock him out. But then after the night and like my head is cooled, it's like delete that, undo that, undo that, undo that, and it just gets to be super simple. And I still get my point across, but I've had the time to process. And when those instances have happened, it's like, wow, that is going to save so much less regret, so much just like easier conflict. Like I don't feel guilty, their feelings aren't hurt, I still get my point across. And I just take that instance and be like, if we could just figure out a way to do that with our words, how much more of a benefit would that be for us? So I had a couple more. Aaron? Yeah. Yep. No, thank you. No, that is a good tip. Thank you. Yep. No, I think that's good. I mean, it is okay for us to get angry. We just want to make sure that it is a reaction to evil and not necessarily just winning an argument. Thank you. All right, this is all really wonderful. I appreciate it. James chapter 1, verses 21 through 25.
Therefore, lay aside all filthiness and overflow of wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your soul. But be doers of the word, not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in the mirror. When he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. But he who looks into the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, and is not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this one is blessed.
Thank you. So first, we need to put away something. Second, we need to take action. And lastly, doing that, it requires a sort of urgency, intentional. We have to be very intentional, and we have to be consistent in doing that. Any other thoughts or takeaways from verse 21 through 25? Yeah. No, I think that's really good. Yeah, definitely an encouragement and tell us, live in unity with one another. Thank you. Yeah. No, I think that's good feedback and a good way to look at it. Yeah, just yeah, continuing to practice and persevere in the things that you should be doing. Thank you. Yeah, no, I think that's really good. And there's just a certain level of just of practice that makes it a little bit easier. I think for me specifically, these types of examples that come up, it's just usually I learn the most after I have made a huge mistake. And that mistake is just triggered. It's like, I know next time I'm going to handle this situation differently because how I handled it originally was not ideal. And so kind of as you go through life and see more of those experiences, you can train yourself to react in a better manner. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, so are you, you mentioned that you used to be angry, a lot more angry in your younger years. Let's say now, are you the same level or way toned down? So then my question for you is, what practical steps do you think have really helped you along that journey? All right. Uh, yeah. So life experiences, time, self-reflection, and kind of getting to the root cause of what is causing the anger. Yeah. Yeah. All right. James chapter 1, verses 26 through 27. Thank you. So here we see a mature Christian as someone who speaks differently, someone who acts differently, and someone who thinks differently. You also have thinking about others and being pure, taking care. Pure is without blemish, and undefiled is untainted, and you're capable of keeping being unspotted from the world. Any kind of practical advice or words of encouragement on verses 26 through 27? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really good. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's really good. Thank you. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, because if you're always thinking about others, it's like thinking about taking care of the orphans, thinking about taking care of the widows, thinking about just your common man. Those will have a reflection on how you talk to them. If you like at the core of who you are is really caring for who they are. I think that is definitely part of it. Thank you. Yeah. Good job. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Bill. All right, so that finishes chapter 1. So chapter 1 is technically Grant, so I'm going to leave it up to him. So Grant, I butchered the rest of your verses, so leaving it up to you. What did I miss? What other points can you add to some of all the work that you did for chapter 1? All right, thank you. Well, I've read your slides, so I'm doing great. I appreciate it. We'll have to ask Grant later. All right, so moving on to James chapter 2, verses 1 through 7.
It also comes in a form. Not made themselves, not God. Dishonor the not the rich, not blaspheme.
Thank you. All right, so the first question for tonight is what is partiality? And then the second question is how or do we show partiality still today?
Authority. Boss, but show partiality. The idea of my background, yours, I'm not.
Yeah, so it's still kind of prevalent today, but those are some good examples. Thank you. Sure. And discernment. Yeah. I think that you just kind of have to lean on your own life experiences for that. I think for this specific example, he's specifically talking about partiality within the congregation. And so some of those things might be like outside this realm, but it is really a good idea, something to consider. Um, yeah. Okay, no, that's really good. It's just like human nature, but the trick is just making sure that it doesn't get into the actions of what you do or how you treat them. Anything, Barry? Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree with you. It is, I think there could be a difference between kind of this distinction and just being more close with some members than other members, and just making sure that we're mindful that it doesn't turn into treating them differently. I think here, the specific example is a clear violation of just rising up a certain person and lowering down others simply based on their appearances. Thank you. Yeah, that does. That makes sense. So I do think one of the parts that I wanted to highlight is if we do show partiality, we are judges with evil motives. And that kind of just stuck out to me because I think, I don't know, it hit really hard that there's such a strong label to if you are showing partiality. It's not, there's just strong words for something that seems to be human nature just as far as identifying. I don't know. So, any other? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's pretty good. So, kind of to the core is just, well, It's like the judging with evil motives. Why are you doing that? So just kind of based on that, I'm going to go ahead and just jump forward to a couple of slides, and then we'll come back. Mostly because this was just a thought exercise that I was doing, kind of specifically about this. So last week we talked about this is the equation of sin. So last week we talked about when there's desire plus opportunity plus action, then there will be sin. And so when I was going through and thinking about partiality, I just kind of went backwards. So I just said, if the action is showing partiality, and I know that that is sin, and I kind of work backwards, what would you think, what is the desire and what is the opportunity? Because working backwards might help us get to kind of what Jeff was talking about. What was the core root of the desire? So anybody want to take a stab at this? Or when you're looking at this equation, you're like, I have no idea what he's even talking about. Yeah. So the desire is more of like selfish ambition or like selfish gain. Then the opportunity is a rich man comes in, and now I'm going to take action, and that's how it's going to be. Yeah, thank you. Oh, well, thank you. So when I went through this same thought exercise, just desire plus opportunity plus showing partiality equals sin. So I did opportunity was just like the rich man comes in and the poor man comes in. I know showing partiality is sin, but then when I got to the root of desire, kind of outside of those, like what Steve had already mentioned, I had a really hard time of coming up with like, is there truly a desire that I would have that would then like trigger the opportunity, that would then trigger partiality to equal sin? And I kind of had a hard time coming up with one. But then I read James chapter 4, verse 17. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. And I kind of just thought about, just we talk about partiality, and we all know that it's just wrong. Just like it is wrong to classify people like this way and that way and treat them differently. And so even if it's not like a desire that's like, I'm going to do this for selfish gain, but if I know the right thing to do is to treat people all the same. And yet if I'm not doing it, for me, that's sin. Yeah. Nope, that is very accurate. All right, so Jeff, thank you for that good segue. So we're coming up on time. So next week we're going to pick up in James chapter 2, verses 8 through 13, and then continue on into James chapter 3. So next week, Matthew Purdom will be teaching as I will be gone. But thank you all for your participation tonight and the good class.